Emily Carter was not your average 15-year-old. While most kids her age were worrying about math homework or what to wear to school the next day, Emily was in her garage late at night, surrounded by wires, soda cans, broken fans, and old TV parts. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She was building something that most people wouldn't even dream of at that age. A rocket. Yes, you heard that right. She had no lab, no fancy equipment, no expensive education, just a wild imagination, a second-hand laptop, and a passion for space she inherited from watching YouTube videos and reading books she borrowed from the public library. But behind that passion was a quiet, humbling truth. Her father, Mr. Carter, was a janitor at Halden University, one of the top engineering colleges in the country. Every day, he cleaned the very classrooms where future engineers studied. He always wore a faded cap, carried a mop, and walked with quiet dignity. He never complained, he just worked hard, so Emily could dream big. And she did. Emily would often visit the university after school, sitting in empty lecture halls while her dad mopped the floors. She'd scribble rocket equations on scrap paper and read textbooks left behind by students. Over time, she taught herself basic aerospace principles. Thrust, drag, lift. She didn't need a classroom, she had curiosity. When she turned 15, Emily applied to Halden University's Young Innovators program, a highly competitive early entry program for genius teens. It was her dream. Her dad helped her print the application at the local library. She uploaded photos of her homemade rocket engine, wrote a detailed explanation of her cooling system innovation, and even attached a video demo. She knew her work was unconventional, but it worked. For days, she refreshed her email constantly, heart pounding every time her inbox buzzed. And then the reply came. "Thank you for your interest. Unfortunately, your application does not meet our requirements." No interview, no feedback, nothing. Just rejection. Emily stared at the screen in silence. Her fingers were shaking. Her dad came into the room and saw her eyes filled with tears. "They didn't even look at it, Dad," she whispered. "They didn't even give me a chance." Mr. Carter sat beside her. He didn't say much, just placed his hand on hers and said, "That college sees a janitor's daughter. But one day the world will see who you really are." That night Emily didn't cry again. She went back to the garage, and she started building a better rocket. Not for the college, not for approval, but for herself. Her rejection wasn't an end, it was fuel. Every night she worked harder. She tested new fuel mixtures, adjusted fins, redesigned the nozzle. She posted videos on a small science blog and explained her process in simple words so others like her, kids with nothing but ideas, could understand. She didn't know it yet, but someone was watching. Someone important. It had been 3 months since Halden University slammed its doors on Emily Carter. She didn't post about her rejection. She didn't rant. She just worked. In her garage, between creaking wooden shelves and a concrete floor stained with oil and dreams, Emily perfected her rocket engine. She called it Phoenix 2, because like a phoenix, it rose from the ashes of failure. One day, she uploaded a new video. This one was different. It showed Phoenix 2 lifting off the ground, not just a small puff of air like before, but an actual, controlled lift. The engine design was unique. She had figured out a way to cool the nozzle using a recycled coil system, something even professionals struggled with. She explained the science in her calm, clear voice. Cooling systems are one of the biggest challenges in rocket propulsion. But what if you didn't need expensive materials or nitrogen circulation? What if you could do it with parts from a junkyard? The video got a few thousand views, nothing viral, nothing crazy. But one of those views was from a NASA engineer named Dr. Raj Patel. He watched the entire 7-minute clip twice. At first, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Then he ran a quick simulation. And then he said aloud, "This kid just solved a problem our lab spent 6 months stuck on." He forwarded the video to his team with the subject, "Find this girl." Emily was at school when she got the email. Subject line, "Opportunity from NASA." At first, she thought it was spam. But as she read the message, her hands began to tremble. "Emily, we were deeply impressed by your rocket cooling system. Our team at NASA would love to invite you for a tour of our propulsion lab. We'd also like to discuss your future in aerospace engineering. Dr. Raj Patel, NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory." She dropped her phone. Her heart was racing. She picked it up, ran to her dad, who was fixing a leaky faucet, and just held it up. He read it slowly, then looked at her with wide, teary eyes. "NASA?" he said. She nodded. "NASA!" A week later, Emily was walking through the gates of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. Badge around her neck, notebook in hand, head held high. She wasn't just a visitor. She was invited. She stood in front of senior engineers and explained her rocket concept. Like a pro, her diagrams were messy, hand-drawn, but her math was flawless. One of the older scientists leaned forward and said, "Where'd you learn this?" Emily smiled. "The library and trial and error." By the end of the day, NASA offered her a mentorship, working remotely with their research team on small propulsion models. She wasn't even out of high school. When Holden University heard about it weeks later, they released a statement congratulating former applicant Emily Carter on her remarkable achievement. Too late. The girl they had rejected was now learning from rocket scientists. She was testing prototypes for lunar missions. She was part of the future. Now 17, Emily has been featured in Forbes, Wired, and National Geographic. She's spoken at conferences, mentored other girls in STEM, and even started a non-profit called Garage to Galaxy, helping underprivileged kids learn science with everyday materials. When asked what motivated her, she always answers with the same story. They saw a janitor's daughter. NASA saw a rocket scientist. Final words. This story isn't just about rejection. It's about resilience, about a girl who didn't wait for permission. She built her future with scrap parts, determination, and the belief that the sky isn't the limit. Because for Emily Carter, the stars were just the beginning.